Hello and welcome to the program The Law of the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. This is a program that talks about government policies and how it concerns the people of Nigeria. Welcome once again. My name is Rachel David White, and again today I'm being joined as usual by my co-host Xavier Robert.
Hello, Rachel. What's up?
Hi.
Well done.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. And you?
I'm better.
That's good.
Of course, you know why I'm better.
Absolutely.
All right, so today I'll take a look at some reports that are currently trending in Nigeria, and that is the fact that the Chicago State University has finally released the academic records of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so we'll take a look at that as well. And of course, the much anticipated strike by the NLC and the TUC has been suspended for 30 days. Of course, yesterday we also laid to you what the government had said, and also the demands of the NLC and the TUC as well. So at least a total shutdown was averted due to the meetings, different legs of meeting held by the federal government and the labor unions as well. So those are the things we'll take a look at on today's program, and also we'll be joined by our guest who is already on standby and will be addressing these issues with us today, and our phone lines will be open as well, so do well to let us know what you feel about these issues that we will be discussing today. Of course, those are the major topics that we'll talk about: the CSU, Chicago State University report, and of course the trade union and the NLC's suspension of strike. Don't forget that the federal government had promised 35,000 naira allowances, enhancements to federal workers, and of course that raised so much concerns from different people, including the private sector workers as well. So we'll also address that in today's program. Hi, Xavier.
So I understand that the records of Tinubu has
Of
already
course.
been released, and of course, Atiku would now be making all possible arrangements to ensure that he
At the
prosecutes
Supreme Court, yeah.
his
There
desires.
are also concerns that it may not have, it may not hold water at the Supreme Court, but we'll get to
There's
find
a
out.
lot of
And
stands are
also,
saying that
yeah, the details.
some
of,
are for, some are against, saying it will hold water, some saying it would not hold water, but eventually we're going to find out.
Of course. Well, the Chicago State University, CSU, has released the academic records of President Bola Tinubu following requests by Atiku Abubakar, candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the 2023 elections. On Saturday, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois ordered the CSU to release Tinubu's academic records. Atiku had filed a response in the court insisting on the earlier judgment that ordered the release of Tinubu's academic records. And Atiku asked the court to order the release of the records before October 3rd, which is today, 2023, in order to allow him use the document at the Supreme Court in Nigeria on October 5th.
Well, in our other story for today, we bring you reports that the organized labor last night suspended its planned nationwide strike for 1 month following an agreement with the federal government. Though details of the memorandum of understanding suspending the strike were sketchy at the time of this report, the agreement, as gathered online, was reached late last night, and the meeting was reconvened for both government and labor to find common ground and avert the planned strike, which of course they've been able to do. The organized labor were to force the government to address the suffering and pains of Nigerians occasioned by the petrol subsidy removal. And earlier yesterday, the National Executive Council, NEC, of NLC and its TUC's counterpart had met separately to review Sunday's meeting with the federal government's offers.
Now, according to reports at the end of separate NEC meetings, which they had, leaders of the NLC and the TUC had set up a committee to harmonize their resolutions to arrive at a common ground. And according to sources, the joint resolution of NLC and TUC was presented to the government team around 5 p.m. yesterday, which were mentioned during our program or at the end of our program. But the meeting did not reconvene until 8:15 p.m. when the government team returned to the chagrin of Labour leaders. It was gathered that almost, left the venue in anger. Now, don't forget that President Bola Tinubu had on Sunday evening succumbed to the 35,000 naira provisional wage award demanded by Labour after his initial 25,000 naira for the average low-grade worker to run for 6 months was actually rejected. Now, instead, Labour insisted that the wage award should be across the board and run till a new minimum wage expected to be negotiated next year is put in place. And a statement issued by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, explained that some of the resolutions reached at the Sunday meetings were that the issues and the dispute can only be resolved when workers are at work and not when they are on strike. And members of the organized labor team present were the NLC President Joe Ajaro, his TUC counterpart Festus Osifo, the NLC General Secretary Emma Obaja, the TUC Secretary General Nuhu Toro, amongst others.
We also had on the government team the National Security Advisor, NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, the Minister of Finance, Wale Jun, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and the Minister of State for Labour, Nkiruka Onyejecha. Meanwhile, the umbrella body for the pro-Labour civil society groups, the Joint Action Front DAF, in a statement by its chairperson and secretary, Dr. Dipo Fashina and Abiodun Aremu, respectively, commended the doggedness of NLC and the TUC.
Well, according to, the statement that they placed the unwavering solidarity of the Joint Action Front for the struggles of the labor movement against the anti-poor and neoliberal attacks of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, particularly the withdrawal of fuel subsidy hike in the fuel prices, devaluation of the naira, which is one of the major issues, hike in school fees. Of course, we saw some students carrying placards protesting against, the hike in school fees and other issues concerning living standards. Now, this includes a wage award of 35,000 naira across the board for federal workers, as well as promised provision of CNG buses and lots more. So, I would say while so many people are still commending the fact that, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said he's going to put these things on ground, there are so many people that are asking questions. Is this what we need at this time? Is this going to solve the issues on the ground? What happens to, the private sector workers? Would they eventually say,
we've been able to stabilize things, so let's just
so let me
ignore them again, all over again, and we go back to the drawing board all over again.
Now, what happens after 6 months?
A lot of people are also asking the question, what happens to the people that do not even know where the next meal ticket will be coming from, Rachel? And then, since the announcement of the call-off of this strike, we've had rave reviews from citizens of the country saying the labor leaders are at it again. They are going to succumb again to the federal government's plans to shut them up, and then at the end of the month, like they said, they're suspending for 30 days. Then what happens after 30 days? That you're going to go back to the drawing board, and eventually you're still not going to be able to achieve your demands. That is the position of a lot of Nigerians. They're believing that nothing good will come out of this resolution that the NLC and the TUC have been able to reach with the federal government, that they should have stood their grounds and made sure that at least a sizable percentage of their demands is met by the federal government before they consider calling off the strike. So I really don't know.
Well, we can't say the call off the strike at this point. We'll just say it's calmed down.
Well, a lot of people are saying they should just call it off and then keep negotiating with the federal government.
I think that's what they're doing.
It's a better move than just going on strike.
Okay, we'll just go on a short break. When we come right back, we'll talk better, and I guess we'll be here to address these issues with also. Just stay tuned. We're coming right back.
allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this
lord.
an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back. It's still the program, The Law of the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. And before we went on the break, we talked about the released Chicago State University and also the suspended strike, and of course, the truce reached between the NLC, TUC, and the federal government. So, we have our guest already on standby to address some of these issues we'll be looking at today with us. But meanwhile, I'm back here again with Xavier Rabbit.
Yes, Rachel, glad to be back.
Okay, so let's see if our guest is here. Good evening and welcome to the show, comrade.
Thank you, Rachel. How are you?
Okay, so well, we've been expecting you to join us for a while now. I guess we had network issues. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
No problem.
Oh, all right. I think we should just head straight to the major point that we're looking at today. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'd just like you to talk about the released Chicago State University result, just a little, before we get to the major point that we're looking at today. I mean, the candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, had asked for, of course, that records to be released so he can pursue his Supreme Court, to nullify the just concluded presidential election, which saw our president Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president. I guess is not giving up, and there has been so much banter here and there concerning the release of that records. But finally, what have you noticed in that record?
I noticed a lot of things. Rachel. I read it very well and follow some journalists and media outlets, and I see a lot of things. Uh, we all know that the documents were released, and there is a lot of confusion in that document. We have to consider like the top three of it. One is that um, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended Chicago State University. Is a proof that, but the result he used to see the admission in that Chicago State University, it comes out to be with precautions, and there is a probability, but it is a confirmation if you consider the result Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificate Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using submit to INEC, is using here in Nigeria is different with a certificate Chicago presented to Article lawyers. So you see, this is number one confusion. So if they know that Tinubu attended this one, why Tinubu forged the certificate? That is number one. I know that there's a deposition today, this evening, this afternoon in Chicago time, that is USA. So the second one is about Government College in Lagos. Tinubu claimed that he attended in 1970, and it was found out that the school was built uh, was not founded until 1974. So, which school did Tinubu attend? That is number two. And there's also confusion in that in his Southwest College result. This is a clerical error. That is why we are waiting for the deposition so that they can clarify that particular information. This is just a clerical error for that because the certificate was found out that it was belonging to a female, it was belonging to woman. That is number two confusion, and there's also confusion in his date of birth. If you consider the date of birth in his secret and his date of birth in passport and the date of birth uh, he used in Southwest College. So it is all about confusion. This one comes with 1952, this one comes with 1954, this one comes with 1955. So it is seriously that there's a problem, there's a confusion in that particular head of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is number two. So if you consider this, you know that we have a lot of things to verify in the deposition today. So we are waiting. We read it, we see it, and many people confirm that the confusion is that. But all we want to know is that why, how did Tinubu, finish that school? If if he get into Chicago State University with what shall I call it with a female certificate, you know. So this is what I can contribute on that matter. We are waiting for the deposition today, this afternoon in the Chicago. So I know a lot of things will come out.
Okay, Comrade Abbas.
Yes.
Good to have you on the show. Now, would you say that when you appraise the whole situation, the whole scenario, and the litigations that are supposed to accompany this release of President Tinubu's records, do you think the opposition stand a chance to, make anything tangible, get anything tangible from these litigations that they're about to embark on to the Supreme Court?
Yes, of course, that is the effort. That is the main effort by the opposition party. All they want is that at the last, they will get a concrete evidence to use in the Supreme Court. They have already filed the case in the tribunal. So the tribunal dismissed the petition that there's no tangible evidence by the by them. So, but now they are trying harder to find that evidence, and at least something has already popped up. So I think it is very, very good, and there's a big chance for the opposition party, to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Supreme, in the AFID, in the Court of Appeal.
I think we lost him. Well, let's try to reconnect back to him and see if we can address some of his issues. Now, he's talking about the concerns he has with the Chicago State University records and, the president having to come, explain some of those glitches we've seen there. This is, I would love to that the school was established in, I think, 1974, and we're seeing in 1970 and all of that. So these are the issues that we need to also look at. So Comrade has pointed out some of those concerns as well. And concerning the strike issue, I think that's where we need him to come, lend a voice. Let's talk about this together. Well, let's see if we can try to reconnect with him. We'll be right back in a short while. Just stay tuned. welcome back once again. Let's try to connect back to our guest so we can resolve this issue once and for all. Welcome back, comrade.
Thank you, Rachel. I just have a network connection problem.
It's okay. Comrade, I was asking your concerns. How do you feel about the suspended strike? Does that sound exciting to you? I mean, the federal government finally reaching a truce with the NLC and the TUC as well.
Yeah, concerning the NLC, the labor suspending the strike, it's a commendable
Mm.
effort by the federal government and the NLC to serve. The NLC has demands, and the federal government, accepted the NLC demands. That is the number one. Because if you had the record that the NLC has tried has tried to even leave the meeting because the federal government did not accept their demand that particular meeting. So they came back and make the accept the demand of the NLC. So the NLC suspended the strike due to the federal government accepting their demand. So that is a commendable effort. But because even the strike, this is not the first time they protest and they even attempt 2 days strike. We talk about it here, you know. So it's like the federal government, does not to listen to that. So what will call the attention of the federal government is this the only way what they demand, like what they say they are going for indefinite strike. So so because of that, they know that the NLC has rejected several meetings, several meetings by the presidency, because they are ready for it. But unfortunately, at the end, the federal government asked them, "What is your demand?" You know, they present it, and they accept it. So that is a good. And because even this thing, many people are not happy with this strike because it will still affect the poor life in several ways. We are still in hardship era. People are suffering. So it is not good for the strike for the NLC. If the federal government accept their demand to go for strike, they have to look for the poor masses across the country because we all know that people are suffering. So I commend that effort. Absolutely.
Okay,
That
comrade,
is
are you not
yes.
concerned, that if the federal government enhances federal government workers' wages, to 35,000 naira for 6 months, this may likely make people who are not, have no connections with, earning from the federal government, especially the private sector workers and those who just, the entrepreneurs, to increase the prices in their services or goods so as to meet up, you know, with the current situation on ground.
Yeah. As I said earlier, I said it today, last time here. I am sure that
Okay, we're having.
it will definitely affect the poor people lives also because there's a lot of poor. The poor people across the country depend on some workers who take care of the family, their family, and the family of their brothers and sisters. They help them through their earning. So, if the federal government increase that wage, it will reduce the hardship we are currently in, is about 20, and you can afford to buy everything you want to buy. I do understand.
Rachel, I think we're having difficulties with communication.
Okay, I think it's back online now. Comrade, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you. Are you
Okay.
hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you better.
Okay. What I said is that if you consider, if you consider the minimum wage enhancement, it is a commendable effort. That is number
Mm-hmm.
one of the NLC demands. And if you increase the minimum wage of the workers, even so it is not general, it's only for federal workers. but it has also to be the state and local government workers so that it can reach everyone. The ease can reach everyone. But in a situation like this, if it is for generally, I am sure if it is for general from the federal government, the state government, and local government, they enhance this minimum wage, then I'm sure it will reduce the suffering to about 20 or 30%. I don't understand it because most of these poor people, some of currently now the small medium and enterprises, you can have your own as an owner of small medium enterprises, you can even come out for a day because people cannot afford to buy that foodstuffs or that thing. So that that will this increasement of minimum wage will allow the workers, to to use to buy from the market. So if the workers can use their earning in that particular way, to afford what they want to afford, then it will ease life to the poor people who are businessmen and other their family. So this is it.
So, comrade, a lot of tempers have flared today since the announcement of this call off of the strike by the NLC and the TUC. A lot of quarters are of the opinion that the NLC shouldn't have been so quick to be lenient or to listen to the federal government in terms of its demands for them to call off the strike, that it is only tantamount to running in circles, that eventually whatever are their demands on the long run would still not be met because the federal government is only baiting them with this very temporary provision to assuage them and keep them mute. Now, do you think that these people have a point?
Yeah, people can have a people can have a point uh, on that matter. But me, my opinion is that if the federal government, if the NLC can push the federal government to accept their demand, then I think we will take the NLC serious by now. This is like this is like will also affect the poor people. I don't understand. So it will affect the poor people by different ways. But if the federal government can accept the NLC demand, it is a good effort. We have to wait to see for the additional 6 months. What I should tell the NLC to do is that to ensure this minimum this wage award is also accepted or enhanced in other states, in state and local level, so that every worker can enjoy that particular award.
All right, so you would recommend that the NLC still keeps the federal government on their toes to ensure that eventually, after the 30 days they've given to return back to the table, to return back to conversations with the federal government, they ensure that whatever are their demands are met. What would you expect the labor unions to do after the 30 days that they've given?
The NLC is within that month, when they give that month to the federal government, is that there's a minimum wage committee shall be agreed to within 1 month from the date of the agreement. So they will aggregate they will aggregated committee, of this minimum wage that will revise the minimum wage with NLC officials or representatives and the federal government representatives. So you see, they will not just give up in just 1 month. They said they will still keep pushing until life was eased. And there's also another demand they made for FG to accept both another 100 billion for the provision of high capacity CNG buses. So you see, that is uh, that is also a commendable effort by the NHC, that they demand that the federal government must provide buses to ease transportation. And there's also that removing of tax added tax added
Value-added tax.
Yes, yes, on bad tax. There's also removal of bad tax on diesel because that is number one. Uh, uh, more these are trucks using for transportation. So if the federal government remove all that, I'm sure with this 35,000 minimum wage award, I'm sure the life will become easier by about 20-30%.
Comrade, let me ask you a
Before,
question.
okay,
Can you hear me? Do you think this is sustainable? Okay, this is going to be sustainable. I mean, 6 months. What happens after 6 months? That's another big
that is
question.
it. Yes, that is it. I said before, the NLC within their demand that a minimum wage committee should be inaugurated within 1 month from the date of the
Uh-huh.
agreement. I don't understand. So they are following it. They will be part of that committee. They will ensure that before that 6 months, every arrangement has been made.
Comrade,
That is what I think that
don't
they are.
also forget. I'm sorry to cut you, but don't forget that this is not the first time we are having this kind of issue. I mean, we've had these issues in the past administration, and it still continues. So, what are those things that you've seen, or those moves you've seen the NLC and the TUC make sure that at the end or at the expiration of 6 months, I mean, the federal government does not still give another excuses and probably head to court to stop them from going on strike and all of that.
Yeah, what I understand is that the NLC and TUC should keep pushing, you know, because if they didn't within that 6 months, then the deal will block. And if that deal blocked without a new committee or without proposal of the minimum wage across the country, then I think that people will call them out. You know, many people will cry out that they are suffering because even we all know that with this removal of subsidy in PMS, you know, many people across the country are suffering. Majority of the people. So they are trying all this because people are crying every day. They cannot afford this. Workers are crying. You know, your wage, your salary, you will spend all your salary just in transportation.
Mm.
It's not good. It's not good enough for that.
Comrade
So they will
Abba,
just push on. Yes.
yes, as we all know, the federal government has made provisions for 6 months for federal workers. It's no longer news. What happens? What do you think should also be done as temporary measures for those of us that are not federal workers? Those of us in the public sector, those of us in the private sector. I mean, those of us that selling petty things on the streets. Those of us that do not earn any monies from the federal government. What are those provisions that should also be put in place temporarily to cushion the effects of this fuel subsidy removal for those sets of people? The federal government has made provisions for the federal workers. What happens to the people on the streets?
Yeah. That is number one problem because we talk about that several times that you know.
Okay, we're still having this network issues. Try to connect.
So I think that if are you with me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we're with
we're
you.
with
Go
you.
ahead.
Okay. So I think that what I say is that you know the federal government has planned for the poor masses, as I heard from the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Beta Edu. So she says that they are planning something, you know, for the poor masses, you know, to push the um this particular hardship of subsidy removal. They say that they are trying, you know, they are not ready to give or to award money, you know, or to send the money. No, they are using even a GPS tracker to send food to each and every household across the country.
Okay, we're still having some issues
That's
trying to
expensive.
reconnect to Comrade.
So, are you with me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just rounding off your
Okay,
points.
okay. So that is number one. That is what I think will be the plan by the federal government. So, and in the case of that, I said it before, yeah. But if the federal government and the state government and local government can enhance the minimum wage, I'm sure it will touch everyone's life. Because the
Yeah.
workers, but currently now, you can even come out for a day, for day, but people cannot afford that thing. Even if they like someone should need more than what she buy from him. So if the federal government and the state government and the local government, enhance the minimum wage, people will buy from that street marketers, and it
Mm.
will definitely ease their lives too, because you can have stocks or goods, but people cannot afford it
Okay, I think at this point
right
we've
now.
done this, some of the
So if
things he's
the
trying to say.
min-
Hello, comrade. Comrade, if you can hear us. Can you hear us?
yes, I can hear you. Yes,
Oh, okay. So I was having a little difficult time hearing your last point. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Hey,
much for
thank,
this.
comrade.
All right, so Savior, it's been a good day, though we had some glitches, some
Yes,
network issues.
I think we're going to be having this conversation deep into the week and even beyond the week,
Of
Rachel,
course.
because it's a really a sensitive issue that has to do with the lives and well-being of Nigerians. So I'm really hoping, Rachel, that whatever is going to happen, whatever will unfold in the coming weeks, the federal government would be able to really meet and reach to the needs of Nigerians and get these issues sorted out.
Well, 30 days is a long day. I mean, the whole month. So let's just wait and watch.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much for staying glued to your TV Spectrum Television. It's been the program, The Love of People and Governance. It can only get better. So let's meet again tomorrow.
Thank you. My name is Xavier Robert. Catch you again tomorrow.
Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. Follow us at X at SpectrumT Online, all is one word. My name is Rachel David White. See you tomorrow. Bye.